Welcome to Voyage Daily Tech, the most important news personalized for you every day, supported by Voyage.com.
After listening to today's news, you'll know first, Apple plans a 2027 smart glasses launch, challenging Meta with a Siri-first, camera-centric wearable ecosystem. This discussion will reveal how Apple's go-it-alone strategy connects to on-device AI and what it means for the future of personal privacy. Second, Mistral AI's CEO predicts AI will replace over 50% of enterprise software, accelerating a software Mageddon for SaaS giants. We'll explore how this AI-driven disruption could transform enterprise IT workflows and what it means for the future of the SaaS industry. Third, Meta signs a massive multi-year Nvidia chip deal after its in-house AI chip project fails, escalating the AI arms race. We'll analyze why this public pivot is a turning point and how it solidifies Nvidia's ecosystem dominance and affects competitive dynamics. Fourth, Ford bets $5 billion on a new EV platform, adopting Tesla's Gigacasting and 48-volt system to build a $30,000 truck by 2027. We'll examine how this radical manufacturing overhaul aims to solve EV profitability and what it means for competition with Chinese automakers. Fifth, Perplexity abandons its ad model over accuracy concerns, pivoting to subscriptions and challenging OpenAI's emerging ad-supported path. In this episode, we'll break down this critical business model conflict and what it signals for the future of trustworthy AI platforms. The story begins with a decision that caught everyone by surprise. Apple is planning a full-scale invasion of wearable AI, and it starts with a direct shot at Meta. A while back, we broke down how Meta and Ray-Ban blew past expectations, selling around 7 million pairs and grabbing the lion's share of the market. So this is Apple walking straight into a category Meta currently owns. The company is pushing ahead with its first pair of smart glasses, reportedly aiming for a 2027 launch to compete directly with Meta's Ray-Ban lineup. And remember, we previously analysed how Meta's edge isn't just branding. It's the deep Essilor-Luxottica partnership backed by a multi-billion-dollar stake that fused fashion and tech to normalize cameras on faces. Actually, this isn't just about making a cool gadget. It's a fundamental clash of business strategies. Meta chose to partner with Essilor-Luxottica, the parent company of Ray-Ban, to get its glasses to market fast and leverage a trusted fashion brand. Apple, on the other hand, is going it alone. As we've discussed before, Meta's play isn't a simple logo deal. It's a long-term lock-in with the world's eyewear giant. Apple's entire philosophy is built on vertical integration, controlling the hardware, the software, and the user experience from end to end. It's a slower, more expensive path, but it's how Apple creates that seamless ecosystem and reinforces its premium brand. This is where the situation takes a more complex turn. According to reports, Apple's glasses won't have a built-in display. Instead, they'll be packed with high-resolution cameras, microphones, and speakers, all designed for one purpose: to give Siri a view of your world. That's a sharp contrast to Ray-Ban's latest models, which we noted have added a tiny display and even gesture control via a wrist-worn band. Apple appears to be skipping visible UI entirely and going all in on a Siri-first, camera-first experience. Imagine asking your glasses about the ingredients in a meal you're looking at, or getting directions based on the landmarks you see. The secret sauce here is on-device processing, and it's a huge deal. For this to work, Siri needs to be much, much smarter. Continuing our last discussion about the shift from massive back-end compute to smarter front-end devices, Apple is designing its new chips, like the A18 with its 16-core neural engine, to run powerful AI models directly on your device. Instead of sending your data to the cloud for analysis, which is what many competitors do, Apple's approach keeps your personal information private and secure on your phone. It's a design choice that is both a technical solution and a statement on privacy. But that's not the whole picture. The real turning point is what comes next. Apple is also reportedly developing an AirTag-sized AI pendant that you can wear as a necklace or a pin. This device is being described as an always-on camera for your iPhone, constantly feeding visual information to Siri. And this isn't some far-off concept. Reports suggest the pendant could arrive as early as next year. Now, if this sounds familiar, it should. This concept is eerily similar to the Humane AI pin, a product that failed spectacularly. The Humane pin was a standalone device that was expensive, had poor battery life, and was disconnected from the apps people already use. Believe it or not, Apple seems to have learnt directly from Humane's mistakes. By making its Pendant a companion to the iPhone, Apple sidesteps the biggest problems. It leverages the phone's powerful processor, its battery, and its entire ecosystem of apps, which could be the key to making this idea actually work. And the plan goes even further. The company is also exploring new AirPods equipped with low-resolution cameras. The goal is the same, to use AI to analyze a wearer's surroundings. Think about the implications for a second. We're talking about 3 potential devices: glasses, a pendant, and earbuds, all with always-on cameras. This brings us face-to-face with a massive social and ethical question. We noted before that Meta's use of iconic frames help people feel more comfortable with cameras in public. But even with that normalization, Apple potentially tripling the number of camera surfaces on your body could reignite the privacy backlash that killed the original Google Glass. People were uncomfortable with the idea of being secretly recorded, and now Apple is potentially tripling down on that concept. This raises unprecedented questions about consent, bystander rights, and what it means to live in a world where any conversation or interaction could be recorded and analyzed by AI. This isn't about 3 separate gadgets. It's a coordinated hardware offensive. While Meta partnered with Ray-Ban, Apple is reportedly developing its frames in-house, betting on a high-quality build and advanced camera technology to win. The entire ecosystem, glasses, a pendant, and camera-enabled AirPods, is being built to give Siri eyes and ears in the real world. We previously analysed how Meta seized early dominance by moving units at scale. Today, Apple isn't just upgrading its software, it is building an entirely new physical reality for its artificial intelligence. And it's betting that its reputation for quality and privacy will be enough to win a market that Meta already leads by millions of units sold. We were just talking about Apple building a whole new hardware reality for its AI. Now, let's shift our focus to how that same technology is poised to dismantle the software world. The CEO of a major AI company just dropped a number that is an absolute bombshell for the entire software industry. A while back, we broke down how AI agents slipping into day-to-day workflows were already being priced as a direct hit to software demand and margins. Today, that pressure gets a number. What makes this even more significant is that the company we're talking about, Mistral AI, isn't one of the usual American tech giants. It's a French startup that has rapidly become Europe's leading challenger in the AI space, positioning itself as a powerful alternative for companies wary of US tech dominance. And there's a new twist. Mistral is expanding into India, partnering with local infrastructure providers to meet data localization requirements and support the country's many languages, turning that alternative positioning into a concrete go-to-market move. Arthur Mensch, the CEO of Mistral AI, just went on the record saying more than half of all enterprise software currently being used could be replaced by AI. That's over 50%. And this isn't just a hypothetical. We're already seeing it happen in the real world. As we noted a while back, take the fintech giant Klarna, for example. They recently announced they replaced a staggering 1,200 separate software as a service applications, including major ones, with their own internal AI platform. This is a real-world case study of the exact extinction event Mensch is describing. The fallout is already happening. Investors are growing increasingly worried that AI is coming to eat the lunch of software giants. A key tech software fund, which includes massive names like Microsoft and Salesforce, is already down more than 20% this year. A while back, we called it Software-mageddon, when the S&P 500 software index plunged 13% in a single week, the kind of shock people compared to the early 2000s. The difference this time, as we discussed, is that these are profitable giants being repriced because their very model is at risk. Even Microsoft stumbled during that stretch. So what's driving this panic? According to Mensch, it's speed. He says, AI is making us able to develop software at the speed of light. We recently walked through how Claude's million token context window lets a single model take on jobs like IT issue resolution or code migration, the exact kind of work platforms like ServiceNow were built to do. That's the kind of acceleration he's pointing to. Think about that. He claims that with the right AI infrastructure, companies can now create fully custom applications for things like supply chain management in just a couple of days. That's a process that just a few years ago would have required buying an entire specialized software service. So the thing is, this incredible speed is often achieved using what are called low-code or no-code platforms, which are powered by AI, and their adoption is exploding. Gartner predicts that by 2026, around 75% of all new business applications will be built this way. However, it's not a magic wand. There are hidden costs. Research shows that nearly half of all companies trying this run into major challenges integrating these new apps with their old legacy systems. And about 40% of IT leaders find that managing security and compliance actually gets harder, not easier. So while the speed is real, the process is far from frictionless. This is the core of the conflict. A massive replatforming is taking place. Businesses are now looking at their expensive 20-year-old IT systems and seeing a way out. They see AI as a way to get rid of what's slow and costly. As we've pointed out before, that runs straight into the per seat, per user pricing that made SaaS margins so rich. And if you think this is a distant threat, you're wrong. Mistral AI already has over 100 enterprise customers coming to them with this exact goal to replace old systems. To understand the battlefield, you have to know that experts divide business software into two categories. The first is systems of record. Think of your company's core CRM or ERP system. This is the authoritative central database that is deeply embedded in everything the business does. It's incredibly difficult and expensive to switch out. So for now, it's relatively safe from disruption. But the second category, workflow software, is in the crosshairs. This includes tools that automate specific tasks like project management software such as Asana or e-signature tools like DocuSign. These are the functions that AI can replicate and often improve upon with terrifying speed. Those classic moats, customer lock-in and proprietary data are being drained by AI. This isn't just theory. The market has already passed judgment. The stock prices for many of these horizontal workflow companies have been hit hard, reflecting their vulnerability. A huge portion of the software as a service industry, a market worth hundreds of billions of dollars, is now facing a direct challenge from AI that can build faster, cheaper, and more efficient alternatives. This isn't just a new feature. It's a fundamental shift in how business gets done. Speaking of the AI that's threatening to upend the software industry, the price tag for the hardware behind it is reaching astronomical levels. The AI arms race is now officially more expensive than the space race. This year alone, the combined AI spending from Meta, Microsoft, Google, and Amazon is estimated to cost more than the entire Apollo program. A while back, we broke down how industry-wide AI CapEx was tracking toward roughly $660 billion and why that spend was racing ahead of the underlying software market. Today's headline is that trajectory going fully mainstream among the biggest players. What's really staggering is that projections show by 2026, these tech giants will be spending over $600 billion on AI infrastructure. That's about 2.2% of the entire US GDP, which actually surpasses the peak spending on the Apollo program. But here's the crazy part. While Apollo gave us tangible public goods, one study found that 95% of organizations haven't yet seen a measurable return on their AI investments. It's a gold rush of unprecedented scale. And as we flagged a while back, the payback window is brutally short. Those data center GPUs age in 1 to 3 years. So if the returns lag or pricing softens, you risk stranded assets fast. And Meta just made a move that shows exactly why the company has struck a massive multi-year deal to buy millions of AI chips from Nvidia, locking in a supply of its Grace and Vera CPUs, plus the next generation Blackwell and Rubin GPUs. This deal is so significant. It marks what Nvidia is calling the first large-scale Nvidia Grace-only deployment. We recently walked through how many players were hedging against Nvidia funding or partnering with challenges like Sambanova, Cerberus, and Grok to preserve optionality. But the latest development is Meta going the other way, double locking Nvidia's supply at scale. Now, I want you to understand why that phrase Grace-only deployment is such a big deal. For decades, data centers have been built around x86 CPUs from companies like Intel and AMD. What Meta is doing is committing to a totally different architecture. NVIDIA's Grace CPU is built on ARM technology, the same foundation as the chip in your phone, but scaled up massively. We're talking a single chip with 72 cores and integrated high bandwidth memory that uses way less power. For a company like Meta, which runs unimaginably huge data centers, performance per watt is everything. This is a massive architectural shift. And as we've discussed before, when hardware life cycles are measured in 1 to 3 years, that performance per watt calculus directly determines whether the math can work. But this isn't just a shopping spree. What really brought this to a head was the reason behind the deal. According to the Financial Times, Meta is making this colossal purchase because its own in-house AI chip project has run into major technical challenges and rollout delays. After trying to build its own future, Meta is now doubling down on Nvidia's hardware. That timing echoes the risk we called out a while back. When the payback window is short, slipping a cycle or delaying a rollout can be extraordinarily expensive. When we look closer, this isn't just about hardware. Meta has been trying to build its own chip called the MTIA, but the real challenge is competing with Nvidia's entire ecosystem. It's called CUDA, a software platform that Nvidia has been building for nearly 2 decades. They've poured an estimated $10 billion into it. It's a massive library of tools and code that makes their GPUs run AI models incredibly efficiently. So even if Meta builds a decent chip, it's almost impossible to replicate the software advantage that makes Nvidia's hardware so dominant. This move is a huge win for Nvidia in a high-stakes battle for dominance. The situation presents a fascinating duality. These tech giants are all desperately trying to reduce their dependency on Nvidia, which makes this deal an even more decisive victory. That report about Meta, considering Google's chips, wasn't just a rumor, it was a shot across the bow, a negotiating tactic. We're seeing this everywhere, with AMD partnering with OpenAI and Microsoft. These hyperscalers are desperately trying to create competition to gain some leverage over Nvidia, which makes this deal with Meta an even more decisive victory for Nvidia. They called the bluff. This multi-year deal doesn't just secure a customer, it sends a powerful signal. The race for AI supremacy demands astronomical spending, forcing even the world's biggest tech companies to make critical choices. For Meta, this is a public pivot, admitting that to keep pace, it has to buy, not build, its way forward, cementing Nvidia's position as the essential arsenal for the AI revolution. And circling back to what we said a while back, the math only works if these systems find durable, high-margin demand fast. This deal shows exactly how far the majors are willing to go to make sure they're not left holding obsolete gear before the returns show up. That kind of high-stakes competition isn't just happening in silicon. A very similar battle is raging in the auto industry, where Ford is making a $5 billion bet that it can beat Tesla at its own game, using technology pioneered by its biggest rival. Now, get this. A former Tesla executive is now leading Ford's advanced EV development, and Elon Musk even sent Ford a how-to guide on the very system they're now adopting. A while back, we told you Ford had spun up a secret skunkworks led by a former Tesla engineer to design a low-cost EV platform from scratch. What you're hearing today is that plan surfacing in public. Interestingly enough, when Elon Musk sent Ford the documents for its 48-volt system, it wasn't just a friendly gesture. It's part of a bigger strategy Tesla has used since 2014 when it made its patents open source. The goal is to accelerate the entire EV industry's adoption of its technologies, making Tesla's innovations the new industry standard. It's a brilliant move to both push the market forward and solidify its own influence. We previously analysed that open patent move as a play to set the rules of the game. Today's development shows that strategy in action. Continuing our last discussion about that skunkworks platform, the latest development is concrete. The plan is to launch a $30,000 electric pickup truck by 2027, built on a brand new universal EV platform. To make it happen, Ford is completely overhauling its manufacturing process with 2 key innovations from Tesla's playbook: a 48-volt electrical system and massive gigacastings. These 2 things are revolutionary for the auto industry. For decades, the entire auto industry has been stuck on an old 12-volt system. They even tried and failed to switch to a 42-volt system back in the late 90s because it was just too complex and expensive. A 48-volt system like the one Tesla debuted in the Cybertruck uses much thinner, lighter, and cheaper copper wires to send power through the vehicle. So adopting this isn't just an upgrade, it's a fundamental reinvention of the car's nervous system. As we flagged before, that shift rewires the whole vehicle literally, and the numbers are staggering. The new gigacasting process will replace 146 structural components with just 2. This change helps make the wiring harness over 4,000 feet shorter and 22 pounds lighter. The goal is a radical simplification, 20% fewer parts, and a 15% faster assembly time. If that sounds familiar, it's because we walked through this blueprint earlier, a software-defined vehicle with far fewer parts and a dramatically shorter harness. This has sparked a new manufacturing battlefield. While Ford is benchmarking against Tesla, what's really happening is a global arms race. The real leaders might be in China. Companies like BYD and XPeng are scaling this technology so fast that BYD actually outproduced Tesla in pure electric vehicles in 2024. They are using gigacasting to build cars faster and cheaper than anyone thought possible. We recently broke down how BYD pulled this off. Extreme vertical integration with roughly 75% of components made in-house, which we said delivers about a 15% cost edge. That's the bar Ford has to clear. Ford's CEO, Jim Farley, isn't just calling this an update. He's calling it a Model T moment. He says, for too long, legacy automakers played it safe, but now is the time to change the game. In his words, we're taking the fight to our competition. We noted that framing before today, he's attaching it to a very specific product, platform, and manufacturing reset. You see, when Farley says competition, he's not just talking about Tesla anymore. The real target is the wave of Chinese EV makers. Brands like BYD are already selling cars like their Seagull EV for under $8,000 in China, while offering nearly 250 miles of range. As we said a while back, that kind of pricing power comes from owning the stack batteries, motors, even semiconductors. Ford's 2027 timeline for a $30,000 truck is a race against competitors that are already years ahead on price and speed. However, if you zoom out, you'll see another layer to this story. This massive $5 billion bet comes right after Ford announced $19.5 billion in write-downs related to a pullback in other EV plans, and as US electric vehicle sales have slowed. And when we say slowed, we mean they've hit a wall. In just one recent quarter, US EV market share dropped from over 10% to under 6%. A few days ago, we mentioned how fading incentives and intensifying Chinese competition were key headwinds. This is the backdrop Ford is pushing against. So what does it mean to make a huge bet on a shrinking market? After all, Ford isn't alone. General Motors has also reported billions in similar charges and strategic shifts. This is what's called a counter-cyclical bet, a high-risk, high-reward strategy that has made or broken car companies in the past. Meanwhile, even Tesla is pivoting. As we discussed a while back, Elon Musk cancelled 2 of Tesla's oldest models and is repurposing a US factory to build humanoid robots. And Tesla just logged its first ever annual revenue decline alongside a steep quarterly profit drop. That tells you how turbulent this cycle really is. So while the market seems to be hitting the brakes, Ford is flooring it in a new direction. This isn't just about building another electric truck. It's a high-stakes gamble to reinvent how cars are made, aiming to finally make EVs as affordable and profitable as their gas-powered counterparts. If it works, it's also Ford's shot at narrowing the vertical integration cost gap we've been warning about. Ford isn't the only one making a high-stakes pivot in a turbulent market. In the world of AI, a fundamental conflict over business models is coming to a head, and it started with a bombshell statement from one AI company. Running ads could make users start doubting everything that AI says. And this isn't a new fear. Way back in 1998, in the paper that launched Google, its founders, Sergey Brin and Larry Page, wrote that ad-funded search engines would be inherently biased towards the advertisers and away from the needs of the consumers. It's a 25-year-old warning that is suddenly at the heart of the AI revolution. As we discussed a while back, Google's own journey became a case study in what experts call ad creep. The line between paid and organic blurred over time, so this concern isn't theoretical. That company is the AI search startup Perplexity, and it's making a stunning U-turn that could split the entire industry. Just a few months ago, Perplexity was one of the very first generative AI companies to start testing ads. Now, it's killing the project completely. According to executives, serving ads is misaligned with what the users want. They declared, "We are in the accuracy business, and the business is giving the truth, the right answers." This decision brings both a clear brand message and comes with inherent business risks, because recent empirical studies have shown that this fear is very real. One study found that users often can't even detect ads that are embedded directly into AI chatbot answers. And once they do realize it, they see the AI as manipulative and untrustworthy. What's even more concerning is that other research proved AI-generated ads are significantly more persuasive than ads made by humans. So the risk of being subtly influenced isn't just a theory, it's a measurable threat. We previously analysed how promises to keep a strict wall between ads and answers tend to erode over time, the very dynamic behind that ad creep risk. Instead of ads, Perplexity is now betting its future on subscriptions, targeting high-powered professionals in finance, law, and medicine who are willing to pay for accuracy. Continuing our last discussion about revenue models, this plants Perplexity squarely in the pure premium no ads lane. This is a classic B2B versus B2C pivot. The thinking here is that while the average person might not pay for an AI search engine, professionals in high stakes fields absolutely will. We're talking about premium plans that can cost hundreds of dollars a month, like Perplexity's $200 max plan, because for a lawyer or a financial analyst, a single perfectly accurate answer is worth far more than that. But this strategy comes with a huge risk. The big question is whether there are enough of these high-paying subscribers to cover the massive costs of running these AI models. In fact, research shows that in 2024, Perplexity's infrastructure costs, paying for things like cloud servers and access to other AI models, were actually higher than their total revenue. So this bet on subscriptions isn't just a preference, it's a high-wire act they have to get right to survive. But this isn't just about one company. This pivot throws Perplexity firmly into an emerging war over the soul of AI. On one side, you have the anti-ad camp. Perplexity is joining Anthropic, the maker of the chatbot Claude, which is publicly committed to staying ad-free. And as we noted before, Anthropic even baked safety first into its structure by organizing as a public benefit corporation. And Anthropic is putting its money where its mouth is. The company has secured billions in funding and has a financial plan that projects it will reach profitability by 2028 without ever running a single ad. They are betting that by building trust and focusing on enterprise customers, they can create a sustainable business that doesn't have to compromise its answers for advertisers. Still, as we mentioned a while back, CEO Dario Amodei has been touting eye-popping revenue figures, a reminder that even safety-first players are racing in a high-stakes market. On the other side, the biggest player of them all, OpenAI. The company behind ChatGPT just started testing ads for its free users, exploring a completely different path to make money. As we discussed earlier, that's the freemium play, a free tier supported by ads, plus a paid premium option. And this fight is already getting ugly. The conflict spilled into the public arena during the Super Bowl when Anthropic aired attack ads that were clearly aimed at ChatGPT. In response, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman fired back, calling the ads dishonest, echoing what he said a while back that the spot was on brand for Anthropic doublespeak and that we would obviously never run ads in the way Anthropic depicts them. OpenAI has promised a hard wall between advertising and the AI's answers. But as we've warned using the Google example, history shows that wall is incredibly hard to maintain over time. Altman also framed this as a class war. Anthropic serves an expensive product to rich people, he said, boasting more Texans use ChatGPT for free than total people use Claude in the US. The battle lines are now drawn. This is no longer just a debate about business models. It's a fundamental conflict over revenue versus reliability, raising a critical question for the future. When an AI gives you an answer, will you be able to trust it? Or, as we put it a while back, is AI going to be a public utility free and ad supported with all the risks that come with that? Or a premium tool that keeps ads out but may widen the digital divide, even as many investors hedge both sides?
That's it for today on Voyage Daily Tech. Follow, share, and stay tuned for daily updates coming your way tomorrow.